Or just, it's going to be one of those rolling chats, I think.
Yeah, I think there's a few more that will pop in, but we can just get started. Hi, I've not probably met you, Susie. I've met both Linda, Wilma, and obviously Sue. But I'm Maya, and I'm working alongside Sue with the Celebrating Communities project. And we've been kind of working since last May with Dementia Friendly East Lothian. So from the resilience work in North Berwick. So it's been really, really lovely experience. But yeah, it's lovely to meet you.
Yeah, great to meet you. Lovely to see you all. Yeah, I just thought I'd...
Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
My name is Linda Digney, and I worked with Sue and Maya. I was part of the core resilience team when we went into lockdown last March. We've kept in touch since then. When I stopped resilience, I volunteer now at the community centre and help Katie Nevins out as and when she needs. I also kind of dabble with the befrienders. And when Sue set up this group with Maya and Claire helping her, I wanted to do something in the community. I like old people. I think they're very nice. They're very humorous. They have staying power. They take everything in their stride, and I just like dealing with them quite a lot, actually. So I thought I would get involved with this project, and at the moment I think I've put my hand up to help Claire with her singing, but she's still working in the background, so she doesn't need me yet. So hello, I haven't met you before.
Who's next? You know me, I don't need to. Well, Wilma, you've been before, haven't you? And this is Susie's first
right, yeah.
Conversation with us.
Hi, Susie. My name is Wilma Porteous. I work with East Lothian Library Service, and we're all very keen to be involved with Dementia Friendly East Lothian and get groups going in the libraries when we can, and we get some kind of normality back. We're also seeing what we can do online, anything that we can help through our social media platforms. The libraries use Twitter, they use Facebook. So we're looking forward on how we can go. I've also, following on from our discussion we had the other day, I've spoken to quite a few people within the service, and there's a few of them wanting to get on board with the library, especially from this side of the county, because I know there's a lot in Dunbar and North Berwick. So we're looking more to get more involvement in the Musselburgh, Tranent, Preston Pans area.
Brilliant. That's great. Thank you. Hi, Chloe.
Hi, Chloe.
We're just saying hello.
Yeah, so I'm Susie. I'm the artistic director at Hearts and Minds. So we run we deliver therapeutic clown programs across Scotland, and I guess relevant to this project is our elderflower program. So ordinarily we visit care homes, people living with dementia, and we're really about making connections, bringing out humour, celebrating the personhood of the people that we're meeting. So since lockdown, all of our delivery has been online. So we've been online at Borders General Hospital, and we just launched a Tea for Two program. So that would be elderflowers visiting people in their homes online. So person living with dementia and their carer, to have a kind of tea session with the elderflowers that would involve music and conversation and sort of fun, something, a kind of shared time together. And I guess I just wanted to drop in quickly today to sort of touch base really, and hear about what you're all up to, and starting to brew up how we might be able to be involved once we can be out in the world again, sort of champing at the bit really. So just lovely to be here and to meet you all and hear about what you're all up to.
Thank you, Chloe. Linda and Wilma gave a little hello, but I think you've been at a meeting, haven't you, before with?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't know if you want to say hello.
So hi, I'm Chloe. I'm in my final year of nursing at Queen Margaret Uni, and for the last, it's been like a year and a half now, I've been sort of following suit on and off, and just observing or getting involved where I can. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah. COVID kind of interrupted us a little bit, didn't it, Chloe?
Yeah, it did a wee bit. I've been a bit MIA as well because I've been working down in the BGH actually in the Borders. So yeah, I'm back now. Well, I'm still working, but I've got a day off, so I thought I'd show face.
Oh, Chloe. Oh, thank you for coming. It's always
you.
lovely to see you.
You too.
Well, we thought that we would just have a little chat about if there's anything that anybody kind of wants to, share or talk about in particular. But we have been kind of having these conversations now for about two months. So we're kind of looking at, it's just a bit of a natural progression to the next sort of stage, I guess, in the project. And we thought we would just talk about that and how it links into sort of the wider dementia friendly work, and sort of where we're thinking about moving next, because I know these conversations we've been doing bi-weekly, so we're going to move into sort of a monthly space, and just to see what works for everybody, what would kind of let you get as much out of this as possible. So I don't know if it's helpful to go through a little bit about what we've kind of spoken about so far, just a little run through. I'll share my screen and we can have a little recap on some of the conversations that have been had. Give me... Sure, this will be familiar to a lot of you. So all of this information, the inspiration behind the project, we've kind of run through before, but we were looking to build on the work of the resilience group and the community work that had been done over the last 12 months, just to develop ideas, relationships, and just to be support for continuing all of those lovely things that have come out. There's a case study that we kind of always go back to with Astley House, a local care home within North Berwick. We link them up with some digital support from local groups from the Rotary and the Community Council, and then that allowed them to watch some lovely performances from the Capitol Theatre alongside some home baking from the Beacon Bakers, one of the local churches. So that all came together as a monthly event for the care home, and it's just been continued since, sort of without our input. We've kind of just made those connections, and then that's it's just been a really lovely thing that's continued on. So I guess the main sort of things that we were looking to achieve with this short-term Celebrating Communities project was just essentially to, make life better, give a little bit of joy and fun to people, and to hopefully kind of give inspiration as well, so people can take ideas and run with them within the communities. Obviously inclusive of those living with dementia and carers at the core. So within the conversations, there was a bit of feedback within the first chat that we had about what might help this process. So we've been, as we go, kind of looking back to this and making sure that we're, trying to incorporate everything that has been spoken about. So focusing on place-based conversations, so really kind of localized solutions and conversations. Obviously giving people living with dementia and carers the opportunity to share their stories, giving them a voice as much as possible, which is somewhat more difficult at the moment, but I'm really trying to focus on that. And infrastructure, so ways to kind of share and learn from each other, best practice, which is what this group's really been lovely for as well. And we've had great feedback that this space for the drop-ins. People just really love to come along, have a chat, catch up with what's happening in various parts of the communities. And development, we are kind of doing a bit of outreach, offering dementia awareness training to different groups within communities. And if anybody here is interested, I know you've signed up already, please get in touch. So that's Age Scotland that are doing that for us. It's an hour and a half online. And to focus on residential settings such as care homes and communal housing. So that's something that we're currently about to looking into a little bit more, and we're starting to have more conversations about how we can really access kind of care homes and make an impact there. So some of the things that have come out of the conversations, singing, exercise, golf, digital inclusion, yoga, befriending, dogs, planting, all really lovely things that we are now wanting to try and incorporate into people within the community are wanting to do, and just to help support. Some other topics, Wilma, I know you were speaking about a dementia-friendly library plan, yourself and Sue, we're looking at dementia-friendly film clubs within that. And there's been a lot of conversation as well about walking and the benefits of benches, maps and information, what's out there, kind of where are the gaps, group walks as well. And potentially there's a walking festival in North Berwick that's kind of in talks at the moment. So these are some of the emerging projects that we know of that have been spoken about within this space. So the Seaside Singers, a Digital Buddies intergenerational project that's starting with Dunbar Grammar, Dementia Inclusive Golf, that's just in the early stages of talks at the moment. Walking Festival that I mentioned, and North Berwick and Bloom have come along and spoken about a couple of projects that they're working on as well. And we've had contact from Darlton Good Neighbours talking about benches that they're putting into their paths. So this is obviously just a very small snapshot of stuff that's happening within Lothian communities. So yeah, it's always great to learn more. And if there are any sort of other ideas that people have that would kind of benefit from us supporting, then it would be, yeah, always great to learn about those as well. So next, I mean, I don't know at this stage if there's anything anybody wants to add or kind of any other topics of conversation that you think are important to put in there to look at or to think about.
Hi, Maya. Can I just jump in and just say, Sue, I was contacted by Heather Campbell from East Linton Library. Do you know there's a new manager within the day centre there?
I do, and she got in touch and I've returned her call and she's trying to catch up with each other. So yeah, we're trying to link up.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's fine.
Because they're co-located, Maya. The day centre is right next door to the library.
Yeah, so they do a lot of work together. So they're still keen to be doing a lot once it opens up again. But they're interested in helping out, possibly with entertainment. She says she knows they love a sing song.
Yeah.
So anything like that, yeah.
Yeah, and one of the reasons we're kind of looking at, we're kind of pausing is that a lot of the stuff that was happening before COVID is starting up again. So the health and wellbeing groups in each of the area partnerships are now more or less all meeting again. Haddington is about to, Trinent is Forside is the quietest one, but the rest are all meeting or have been meeting. So that's all starting up. The review of the day centres, there's been a review of East Lothian day centres as part of a whole look at older people's services. So that's now becoming into effect. And also the work we've been doing that Chloe was also working with me on, was at the sessions in Musselburgh about meeting centres, that's all starting up again. So that kind of ongoing conversations that had started about meeting centres, about post-diagnostic support for people with dementia, about the role of the day centres is all coming back on stream. So we want to kind of look at how these fits now with all this new landscape as we come out, and that's one of the libraries are very much part of the thinking for that connected communities. So that those conversations at the moment, I'm talking to all the connected communities teams to advance their advice on how we take forward the reprovisioning of the Abbey, the Eddington, Belhaven Hospital, you know, as well, because it all needs to join up. So Susie, in East Lothian, we have a new community hospital. We have a lot of care homes, residential and nursing. And we also have the Eddington, which is a community hospital in North Berwick, and the Belhaven Hospital in Dunbar. And there are a proposal to completely rebuild those. Oh, thank you. There's one you preferred earlier. So all of this somehow needs to fit through in a very light way, but that's all starting to move now. So we're very aware that we don't want to involve people in lots of different conversations. Otherwise, we'll just waste a lot of time. Mm-hmm. So that's another reason for taking stock and just looking at what we're doing now.
Yeah, thank you. So I think, yeah, that's a good point, is that just at the moment, just to make sure that, you know, we're, you know, filling a gap and adding value rather than kind of overlapping or duplicating on work and conversations. I'm just going to let Jacqueline in. She's just entered the waiting room. So, I mean, so next in this project, as I mentioned before, because we've had all of these conversations, these have been absolutely amazing, and all of the input's been brilliant. So we want to obviously continue, you know, having these conversations, but also to give a little bit more space to bring some of these projects to life and support new ideas that come out, and to, you know, continue working with communities to build on what they want to achieve. So yes, so we'll be doing monthly drop-ins rather than bi-weekly, which will be usual catch up and chats, and we'll also be given the opportunity for guest speakers as well, so to learn a little bit about sort of what's happening nationally in different projects, and Susie, kind of an opportunity for some of your work to be shared as well, and just to have a look at and see if anybody wants to come along and share projects and events that they're working on. So that's enough from me. I will stop sharing.
And just mention that there's a group of organisations that work across Scotland that have got special expertise in working with people with dementia, so we don't lose that dementia bit. So Susie, your work is obviously done by professional people who are very expert in dementia. Hi, Jackie. We've also got, you know, Sam Scott from Edinburgh Leisure, who does work with people with dementia and Dawn at the Festival Theatre, and people from various dementia projects. And we'd seen your role as being a resource and inspiration to communities, in the way that communities' ideas and energy are inspiring all of us. You also inspire, but bring in that good practice, that quality element, so that when people do something, it takes it up to be the best it can be, the most effective it can be. So when we sing, you know, that people can draw on that expertise. So this, and we've not had that conversation really, have we, Maya, about how we link into that expertise, whether we do it just by, you know, connecting people to projects, or that was the idea behind hearing from yourself and others. And, you know, Wilma, hearing from the libraries about, you know, we're hearing from the different places about what's happening, and just begin to bring those conversations together with a bit more structure to this bit. You know, it's lovely having a chat, but, you know, it's one thing to have a chat with people with dementia and carers who are lonely and want friendship, but, you know, the function, I suppose, of this isn't about friendship, because people with dementia and carers can't get to these sessions. So I don't know, that's kind of what Maya and I were talking about that yesterday, about how we manage that transitional phase, I think. And we can do anything. We can do everything.
It's bringing to mind, for me, the work that we've been doing at Hearts and Minds with Adele Roddy. So we've done this big piece of research in care homes, where she's been working with the elderflowers and care home staff, and teasing out what it is that we're doing as elderflowers that relates to what best practice might be as far as making meaningful connections in your sort of working, life, and to really kind of impact the culture of care homes. But of course that relates to our communities, to society in general, those ways of working. So I'm wondering if a contribution from me might be, of course I can talk to you about the elderflowers, but actually sharing that piece of work, that piece, the sort of outcome of that piece of research, which is based on a kind of appreciative inquiry model. So the idea being that the research is a very alive, active, piece. So it's called A Place in the Fun, and it's just a kind of framework for things that we can use in our daily life. I wonder if that kind of thing might be.
Yeah. So sorry, I was having fun. I was trying to finish something, had a phone call, then I was trying to find the link, but just wondering, can you explain what, so I probably missed it, but can you say what elderflowers is besides something that you pick off a brush?
Jacqueline, sorry.
I'll put the link in the chat and we'll make sure it's around. But yes, that would be good.
Sorry, yeah, you came in halfway. Yeah, so we're at Hearts and Minds, we deliver a therapeutic clowning program, and the elderflowers is the branch of that program that works with people living with dementia. So we work, we're professional performing artists, with specialists in theatre clowning, so character clowning. And we work in pairs. We visit people living with dementia in care home settings. Those visits, those meetings are really all about making meaningful connections, bringing out the personhood, the playfulness, the vital spark of people, finding that those treasures in people. So our skill set is working with people with quite advanced dementia. We work, and we're improvising. We use music, we use dance, we use lots of kind of art forms under this umbrella of clowning, which essentially is all about being present, being in the moment, giving agency always to the person that we're with. Does that, it's all, yeah. Then the website there will tell you more, give you more of an idea of the aesthetic. So we're not going in as Ronald McDonald or anything like that. We're wearing kind of clothing.
No, that's really interesting, because I'm actually been involved with the Dunbar Lyric for the last 30 years, which is a drama group that can't afford anywhere to perform. But yeah, it's sort of a related thing that my husband's been doing, because he runs a health and well-being group, doing a lot of research through Horizon 2020 mostly based in Estonia. But one of the things that they've been doing, and it was about blue health and water space, etc. And in Estonia, that there's a lot of, lakes, the coast, but people in care homes are able to easily physically go. So that some researchers at university, I think it was Tallinn and also in Tartu, had worked on a virtual reality program with headsets, and going into care homes and people being able to experience again, a walk.
Yeah, there's that guy who's East Linton. The guy at East Linton has been going into hospices. I can't remember his name now. He came and did one for the Dunbar Friendship Group. Elaine Gale got him to come along and put everybody on the virtual reality. It was an absolute hoot.
It's fascinating because these people.
And I get flashbacks, I think, to the herringbone there.
But what they found was that being by the water was really calming for people who were quite agitated.
It works for me every morning. So that's it. But actually, I know you.
Really interesting idea.
Sorry, I just interrupt. I know you were saying about older people there, Susie, but you also, one of the things I always think is the link with the younger people and the clown doctors working with very young children. Wilma and I have a great fondness for intergenerational working in libraries, and we've had some amazing fun around that. And intergenerational working is a big bit of what Dementia Friendly is about. And Dunbar's got great examples, and are there some possibilities around exploring some of that? Or maybe just say a bit about the clown doctors.
I mean, absolutely. I suppose the clown doctors and elderflowers are distinct because of the context that they work in. So our clown doctors are a very gentle parody of a hospital doctor, and we work in hospices and paediatric hospices and hospitals. But essentially the art form is the same, the way that we, obviously, I guess in a dementia setting, our energy will be a lot calmer, and the kind of conversations or interactions that we have are appropriate to the people that we're meeting. So I can definitely see a scenario where either the elderflowers, I think in my mind, I feel like the elderflowers would be more appropriate in a community setting, or even a different manifestation of, a different partnership, different characters altogether, potentially. In a library setting, we could have 2 clown librarians, who are very bad at being librarians, so that absolutely be really excited to explore something where the librarians, the way that we operate is that we always need help, so when we're doctors in hospitals, we're terrible, doctors. When we're elderflowers, we're terrible family members. And so, potentially in a library, we could be very bad librarians and need help from younger people, older people to so that, yeah, there's definitely potential there, Sue. Yeah.
I love that idea. Absolutely love that idea. That would be so much fun. Definitely. I think that's something we can work to having sessions on. Yeah.
Great. And that's it. That's exactly it. Fun.
Fun.
I did all our heads go off seeing Wilma with her red nose. And Wilma, I'm not going to ask you who you think in your team who might struggle with this. I mean, one or two.
But I think if we talk about disruption fund, then I think clowns in a library is about as, that's good.
Although you have to be careful, because some people there is actually a recognised phobia about clowns. Some people find clowns
yeah, we're really sensitive and aware of that. I've been doing it for many years. We've been around for 20 years. We don't wear makeup. We wear just a little red nose, and we're very sensitive to people in our environment. So we pick up on those vibes very quickly.
Yeah.
I think people saw it. It's lovely to see. I was lucky enough to go in and see some of the clown doctors working in a dementia ward, which is what it was called, in Lothian. So it was really quite special to see. It really is, to observe it. So yeah, definitely. Right, well, let's do that then. So we just need to get a time, Susie, when and if you wanted to invite some of the clown doctors or elderflowers to join us, that might be good. Quite fun. You take over the meeting. What do you think about that, Maya? Just take it over.
It's like with the lyric, we used to go in singing and that in the care homes. People enjoyed singing, the sing-along group at Dunbar Library when it was on. But it was when we were in Pennycook that the Pennycook players had a mummers play that we used to take around. We even went to a medieval feast at Floor's Castle and things. But we went into some of the Midlothian care homes with the mummers play, which was literally people on hobby horses and dressed up in silly costumes and wearing bells. But people loved it.
Yeah, everybody loves it. Yeah.
But I don't like white-faced clowns.
Don't worry. So I think, and also what would be really good is by talking about that, the way you talk about it, Susie, you're bringing out all the good practice stuff very easily. So that will really reinforce the real values and the heart's bit, as well as the mind's bit of supporting people with dementia, but supporting everybody. So I think that would be really lovely.
Great.
So could that be one of the things that we do? We've got Wilma booked up.
Yeah, definitely.
Great.
Yeah.
I have to go now because I've got another meeting.
Your work is done.
It might be an idea for Helen Harper, though, at Dunbar as well.
Mm-hmm.
No, everybody. We would invite everybody to it, Jackie. Yeah.
Yeah,
we can look at.
Yeah, and you haven't seen me doing Albert and the Lion.
No.
Well,
We do have, well, we've Dawn from the Festival Theatre is one of our partners as well. So maybe we should get Jackie on stage at the Festival Theatre. That would be fun.
and
Susie, thanks ever so much for coming, Susie. I know you've got to go, but we'll be in touch about fixing a
Working
session.
Definitely. Yeah.
Great, lovely. Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye.
Nice.
in my younger days, some people have witnessed the picture of Can Avon when I was in a Can troupe. That brought smiles to the older people of Ceredigion.
I bet it did. I'm going to use this against you in health and wellbeing meetings. You know that, don't you? I'm going to ask you to do the can in the meetings. I haven't seen Linda for ages, but I often think of Linda, and one of the things that we always wanted to have, we've got children, we've got clowns. Linda, how can we get dogs into this? How can we get dogs into our celebrating communities? Because we know that dog walkers, people are out walking their dogs even when they're on the last legs. The dog walkers talk to people and smile, and dogs are lovely.
I think I was talking to Maya about this, but llamas as well. I've got a friend that takes llamas in. It's like, yeah, you're right. We've got 2 dogs. We've got 2 rescue dogs. We foster for Dogs Trust in West Calder, but we're kind of stopped at the moment because we've got 2. And Sue's right. When you're out walking, it's amazing how many people talk to you when you've got a dog. But the other thing is, I watched a program where they took, it was llamas actually, it wasn't dogs, into a care home, and the joy on the people's faces because they could actually touch them was amazing. Now, I don't know, like for the walking thing, like you could maybe link up with somebody in the walking thing and take your dog, because like you have to walk your dog anyway. You know, that's maybe a starting point. I don't know if there's rules and regulations. I would imagine there is about taking them into care homes, but I wouldn't have a problem if using one of my dogs, 2 of my dogs, if there was a pilot, you know, if a care home would let us take a dog even into the garden, you know, so the residents could come out and meet them. I have one that's 11.5 and who's scared of her own shadow. But the latest one that we got in October is a 5-year-old Jack Russell, and he's a hooligan. He's an absolute hooligan. He loves everybody. He loves kisses. He rolls on his back. He begs. He's just so. I mean, we've got 2 dogs, and I'm happy. So if I don't know what rules and regulations there are about taking them in, or if there's any, but I'm happy to pilot something with my 2.
Well, there used to be, you know, Therapets was a well-established organisation of taking dogs because they used to go into Lammermuir, and they certainly came to Liberton Hospital, with, you know, but they were, you know, sort of approved dogs, you know, that so certainly NHS Lothian at that time was allowing dogs.
We've also got. There's also dementia dogs as well, who we have a link with. So a woman called Carly, they're based up in the Borders, I believe, but she was very keen to kind of link up, and so we've got that link too.
Yeah. Queen Margaret had a therapy dog as well. I don't know if they've still got him. Maybe Chloe knows. I'm sure it was Hugo. I think that was the name. We had him in the library. And we had the children reading to him, and he was so calm, and he just lay there. He was brilliant. So that kind of thing works, and you can't help not pat a dog. Do you know what I mean? It's I've got 2 dogs, but even if I'm out walking without them, I stop everybody that's got a dog to have a pat of theirs. And it is, everybody's happy to let you talk to their dog, for the dog to be patted. Yeah, it'd be good to get. I think it's Hugo. I'm sure that was his name.
Yeah, we've got a few at the uni. There's a big black poodle called Rolo, and then there's a.
That's it. It was Rolo. Hugo's one in the pans. Yeah, Rolo, he came
Yeah,
in.
need
there's
to-
two different ones at the Students' Union, and you can go up, and even I've went a couple of times when I've been stressed and just wanted to pat a dog.
And do they need to be specially trained, Chloe? Do you need, I mean, I mean, like our little one, the little Jack, is probably a good size as well, you know, for managing. And Missy would be good as well. She would just sit and look at them, and she's probably calmer. But do the dogs, are they specially trained? Do you need a
I
special?
don't think the ones at the uni are, but I'm not sure, because I know that when I've been working in different wards, like you were saying, the therapeutes and things have came in, and I think they do have to meet regulations for going into hospitals and things, but
Just a
Yeah,
different-
I think it's dependent on where you go.
It was a whole thing, and it's the same with you know, going into care homes about hygiene regulations. But I know that some people that I placed in care homes, that with the agreement of managers, that families were allowed to take the pets in to visit, you know, pets in to visit, you know, family pets.
Well, the situation, the situation,
And I've even taken a cat to visit somebody in a care home.
yeah.
You know,
The
some care
situation
homes
pre
have pets.
The situation before COVID was certainly for care homes in practice. I don't know if it was policy, therapeutes are trained just because the unpredictability. And therapeutes, the guy lived in Pencaitland. I don't know if it's the same guy. And then his daughter got really ill or something, and he stopped. So I don't know. I've lost track of what they were doing. but inside they have tended to do that. Obviously, family members accepted. Dunbar Grammar has also got a therapet dog, or a thingy dog. What do they call them? A therapy dog. And it's just like a lump of furry ball that just flops around. That's all it does. It flops into children's arms. So again, you know, that dog is around in the schools. So there might be other places with therapy dogs.
I've just looked up. Become a therapet volunteer. It's run by the Canine Concern Scotland Trust.
So is it still Ralph in is it still the guy in Pencaitland who's our local contact on there, Jackie?
It's just giving an office address of Portland Street in Edinburgh.
Right, because he was involved and he used to bring his therapist along to some of the dementia-friendly gatherings. The other conversation is with Parveen, who does Aging Well on the walks. They haven't allowed dogs, but I think some dog walks have arisen because people want to go walking with their dogs together. So she's always been a bit reticent about that. But has she changed, Linda, do you think?
It's funny you should mention that. I talked Michael into filling out the befriender forms for Carol, because Parveen's given the people that befriend training to do these buddy walks in the town, to help them get out of isolation. And I had said to Carol, you know, Michael wants to get involved. He does the food bank, but he wants to get actually involved with something in North Berwick as opposed to Trent. And he would be quite happy, like half an hour a week, to meet up with somebody, go through the training, meet up with somebody, go walk with them and take one of our dogs, because the dog would give the person a distraction. So at the moment, all we've done is completed the forms. He hasn't done the training with Parveen yet. I'm waiting for Carol to come back. It's very early stages, but he would like to, whilst he wouldn't like to phone somebody and have a telephone conversation with somebody, he would find that quite difficult. He said he would enjoy walking with somebody and helping them, stimulate them with the dog. So it's early stages, so I'm not quite sure where that's going to come.
Thanks, Jackie, for that. Yeah, I mean, it's people are doing it informally, and again, it's when you formalise it, you get the difficult stuff. But Kath from Steampunk had said she'd be very happy to put on a half-price cup of coffee and a tea, and for people to bring their dogs and sit outside one afternoon, and just come and visit. If a dog drop-in, just as part of the community rather than anything. And so if the befriending allows for someone to go for a walk, I've seen befrienders have their dogs when they have gone out with people. I don't know if it's formal or not.
Yeah, that's what
but they are doing it. So all of that gets possible.
Yeah, I mean, if Maya, if
and
you can find
dogs
out,
and re-
sorry, if Maya can find out from the canine people, as I say, if something that has to be done, I'm very happy to use one of my dogs as a pilot if something needs to be done.
And Jackie's
Yeah.
put in about Brig and Barrel in Dunbar, and there was also that. Hey, perfect timing.
Hi, Alistair. Where's
Hi there, how
mine?
you doing?
Where's mine?
Putting through the letterbox.
If I could do it virtually, I would.
Thank you, Alistair.
Sorry, guys. There was also the reading to dogs, wasn't there? People reading to dogs to get kids reading.
Yeah, they found that there's a lot of research being done onto that. And that's why we had the one from Queen Margaret down, because we had a few kids in the class that were pretty anxious about reading aloud. And when they were reading to the dog, they didn't feel so self-conscious because the dog was calm and listening. So I think it's a good thing, especially to improve literacy levels as well with children, that if you've got a therapy dog there, it's great, it works. I mean, I know I've got 2 dogs, and one would never be able, none of them would ever be able to be therapy dogs, because one's a husky, far too big and boisterous, but he's great with my grandkids, and they sit and talk to him, they tell him stories, and he just lies and looks at them. And I think it does develop their sort of speech as well. So I think there's a lot out there for therapy dogs. And I know that my father-in-law, who sadly now does have dementia, but he used to walk my dogs all the time. He'd be away for hours with them. And I used to think he's got lost. I mean, he's been dragged along on his knees when the husky's seen a rabbit and things, but he loved it. He did. He got dragged along like, oh, poor man, came in with his knees, his jeans filthy and everything. What happened? Miko saw a rabbit and took off. Me at the back of him with a lead. So, but it makes well, even though his dementia is progressing, he still talks about that time and laughs about it. So I think dogs, and even in Edinburgh, there's the cat cafe where you can go in, have a cup of tea, coffee, and there's cats there and you can sit and stroke them. And there's somewhere in Portobello as well that you can take your dogs to. The dogs are allowed in and you can sit and have a coffee and a tea. Can't remember the name of it because one of my friends had been in with her dog. So there is places out there, and they are seeing that this helps now. And I think that you have a calming influence on when you're anxious.
And it might be that if people, you know, Jackie's putting about dog-friendly places, linking the befriending and dogs to dog-friendly places, people might feel quite confident to go there on their own, having had that introduction to get, you know, what are the fancy coffees at Steampunk anyway, and you get, you know, get used to that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
One of the things we mentioned, Musselburgh, Wilma, the meeting centre plan for Musselburgh was probably going to end up in a building because the Hollies Day Centre isn't working there. But we've got one of the discussions with QMU right on the doorstep. You could just imagine something really nice happening around, you know, it doesn't all happen to happen in a particular place, but the students, you know, the work you're doing there, Chloe, with some of the other students, I don't know, do students get out into do they get into the community normally? Do they get involved with stuff, or is it just through placements, or can people come in?
Yeah, I think they do. I've not really been involved in much, obviously, because COVID and things, but
Yes.
I think there is definitely scope for that to happen. And although I'm leaving uni soon, I would definitely be up for that. Just as myself, rather than the uni as well.
Well, that sounds great, because you're in Musselburgh anyway, aren't you?
Yeah.
And I can always keep connections with the uni, because they're always saying that just to keep in touch, and anything that we'd find helpful for the community, especially in nursing. Obviously, dementia's a big thing, so.
And you've got the walks up there, haven't you? The new walkways in, I wonder, up at the uni. Do you remember they were putting in the dementia-friendly walk?
The last time I was up there, they were still doing work, so I'm not too sure.
But that will be up.
Working on it.
Yeah, that will be up sometime. So that was designed by the folks in the with Brendan's team and the dementia specialists up there to put in a walk up there. And there were great plans at one point, were there not, to do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, and it is a really lovely space up there to walk. It's really calming, so it would be a good place.
So that might actually, and again, there's no reason why we can't have people do something outdoors there as well, because there's a lot of space, isn't there?
Yeah, and there's benches outside Maggie's as well where you can get like tea and coffee and cakes and things and sit outside. So,
and there's a train station right next door. So
uh-huh.
you could get on the train at Dunbar with your cat, or North Berwick with your dog.
Well,
Okay.
but there aren't that many trains from Dunbar to Musselburgh.
You just need one.
Yeah, but
Do they not a couple a day? Anyway, for some people that becomes an option to travel up eventually one day when things are different. But that could be quite interesting, wouldn't it? So when we're thinking about some of the things like the clown doctors or dogs or children, all the things that bring joy to our lives.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of it's already happening. You know, in Dunbar, Jackie, you've been bringing up places it's happening or it's about to happen, like the work Carol's doing in North Berwick. Wilma, the libraries. As soon as we can get into those libraries.
Oh yeah.
I mean, would one of the first things for the libraries do be to just, if there's any preparatory work we can do before people come back, when maybe one or two of us can be in that space, let's think about what we might do.
Yeah, definitely. Especially because I put out to the other branches, but at the moment we've got staff working in other teams in the council and things. They're scattered, so it's difficult getting back in touch. But I do know that Eileen really keen for this to happen in the libraries. She said it's something going forward with, even helping somebody with dementia digitally, so that I always found that a computer's not ideal. iPads and things are better because they can touch. They're not having to work a mouse and their motor skills come into play. Whereas with an iPad, it's touch point. So we used that with my dad before he passed, and he found that a lot easier working, being able to just touch things. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things we haven't, one of the people we would like to bring to talk about what they're doing is Christine Ryder from Outside the Box, who's working with us. She was working with us on the meeting centres originally and is now back working on all of it. They do fantastic projects. And Maya, do you want to say something about the Digital Buddies project and some of the thing there? Wilma, we need to link you into this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Digital Buddies that Outside the Box are doing, I think they've been running for about 12 months now, so they've been really successful, and they're now trying to kind of branch out. So it's been borders focused so far, but it's basically older people getting a device and then linking up to a buddy. So that can be a family member, or if they don't have a family member, that can be kind of within their bubble, then it is somebody that's outside, and it's just giving them that support to the digital devices. So she's going to be supporting us with the project that we're going to be running with the Dunbar Grammar School. So going to be rolling that out there, and it'll be more intergenerational than we've got the funding from the Connecting Scotland. So we've got digital champion support there as well. So it's really exciting it's just at the start of the project, but we're going to get the support from them, and obviously they've been really successful, and they're wanting to link up as well to do an East Lothian wide sort of project, so to see if there is scope for other places within the community, and they will have the backing and the support to allow that to happen as well. So
because we had
a long chat about it.
We did have funding a few years ago to do what was called the First Click, and it was aimed at over 55s, and it was a member of staff was trained, and they would take maybe 3 in a class for 2 hours for I think it was about 4 weeks, and you taught them how the very basics, how it was like going back to, this is a monitor, this is a keyboard, this is a mouse, and I always taught them their motor skills by playing solitaire on
Sorry, I'm waving at the dog.
And once they'd mastered that, it was just teaching them. We'd set them all up with an email address. We'd teach them how to browse the internet if it was specific, because a lot of them were interested in gardening and art. So we showed them how to get onto sites for that. And a lot of them got a lot out of it. And we just ran out of funding. And we still try to do sort of basic computing, but now it's open to everyone, where I thought it was good when it was aimed at the over 55s. To get people that never sat in front of a computer, it opened a whole new world for them.
One of
Yeah,
the sorry, I was just going to say, one of the resources that Outside of the Box are creating and going to share is very simple kind of how-to guides as well, and also videos of how to use the devices. So it's kind of step by step and very pictorial. So that'll be really, really helpful, I think, as well.
Just it's a really messy strand, the digital stuff, because there's a whole load of people. I've got 12 tablets in my back bedroom that Rotary have given us. They're falling off the back of lorries everywhere, are these iPads. And then what we're hearing is when people get back into the real world, they give them back. So schemes that have been run in England, people are giving them back. But we've also got links in with Katie from the occupational therapy who does the digital work. So people there, one of her things is getting people to use reminders for medications, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that people can self-manage for longer. So she's really keen. Also a connection work we're doing on physical activity around diabetes, and he's interested in linking it to the diabetes management. So we move well beyond just people with dementia, but how people can support people as a whole to use it digitally. So there's a whole lot of people wanting to do stuff digitally. We just need to help them make it practical because it's just very messy. But there's no shortage of tablets. There's no shortage of people paid to help you get online. But there's a real shortage of actual activity.
Yeah.
And that's what Christine's going to help us do. It doesn't need to just be the school. So it could be as we obviously can't do anything in the real world for a long time. But what we'll do is we're just fixing up a meeting with Emma from Dunbar, and we'll get not Dunbar, Wilma will connect you into that. As long as it doesn't take you too. If you think that's useful, let's have a chat with me and Maya about how you might link into it, and if now's the right time to link, or if it's not. We'll just see how that goes.
Yeah, because if that first click project, it could kind of just start again with the support of the outside the box support and the other stuff, then that'd be brilliant to just revive it, I guess.
Yeah, it was. It had a very good uptake in all the branches. We were all doing it. They supplied the folders, and every student got their own folder, and they were told not to rush ahead, but we worked through it together, and we had a tutor's one, and it worked. They ended up, the joy on their face when they were able to do a work document and just put a flower on it and write their name on it, and they'd made a wee poster, and it was great. It opened up a whole world for them. And at the end of it, they used to come in and just use the computers on their own in the library, and if they got stuck, a member of staff was always there for them, but they just kept persevering. And some of them are really good on the computers now because they've just learned and they just wanted to do it. And I think there's so many missing out now, especially I've noticed during this whole pandemic, there's so much online, but if they're not able to access, it's a huge gap for the ones that can access.
My dad did it, Maya. My dad did it, Wilma. And do you know what? Never mind how to use a computer, because it didn't quite work. He sort of got there. But what he loved was the guy used to come to his home, or if he couldn't get to the library, was that meeting every week with someone to learn something new, to face the challenge, a new friend, but also the relationship with the library and books. So it was so much more than just getting digitally connected. It was really connected with lots of lovely things. And I think that's kind of quite good. So we'll just see how that goes. That's one of the strands that we need to pick up. So we can use these sessions to pull that together. And also, Chloe, I mean, you've got a lot of computers up at the university there, sitting there in the summer and all the rest of it. So again, there might be something that some of the students might be interested in getting involved in somehow. Mentoring, I mean, some intergenerational mentoring might also be quite nice there.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I mean, I'm not
in the same way that the schools are,
but I know things. I'm not a tech genius, but I know quite a lot. So
sure. People like me always assume you know everything, but it's bad. But
it is one of
Can I just welcome Linda's dog?
It's even if you've got the device, it's knowing what to do with it. So Jill was persuaded to come into the 21st century, and she's been given an iPad. But so that she could go to meetings on Zoom and things. But you know, she gets stuck, and it's needing somebody who can actually show her what to do. But people can't go into her house to show
No.
her. And therefore,
Yeah.
she's still not getting her emails, except if I phone her and tell her what's there and print them off, because you know, she's trying her best, but you know, it's a case of, well, I've got this this wretched thing, but I don't know what I'm doing, you know. And she's been out of her house, so she seems to have locked the link to her Wi-Fi. But if you say, well, I think you go to settings and press, that she's then bamboozled. You know, it's needing somebody actually there to show her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the challenge.
Problem.
I mean, we got around some of it in the resilience stuff. I mean, Maya was working with the manager at Tantallon Court. We tried to build a similar relation at some of the Castle Rock Edinburgh housing and didn't. So one of the links we've got is talking to you'll maybe know Rebecca Pringle Wilmer, who does the housing stuff in the council, about how we connect with housing managers who are in there, not paid to do support anymore because there is no sheltered housing left, I think, in East Lothian. But there are people who should be able to help, or at least mediate that kind of support for people. And you can easily imagine in some of these communal rooms they've got when we come out of COVID, the library might do a travelling session up there. You know,
it is. You can do that. Because another thing is, I spoke about before, was outreach work, going into care homes, going into day centres, going into sheltered housing. I mean, we've done bookbug sessions in there, but we'd also like to take in crafting, take in the iPads, let people see, because we have, especially during the pandemic, when we were open for browsing, a lot more people were coming in interested in our e-resources, how to search the library catalogue online to order a book. But we also had people coming in going, I've got this, how do I work it? And at that point, because we're not allowed to sit side by side with someone and share, before we would take someone to a table and say, right, this is what you do, and write it down for them as we went. But at the moment, we're all snookered with.
What we had to do during the first lockdown was often work with family members who, and as family members now are getting closer to be able to spend time, then it would be a good time to, you know, if we find people who just need there's no problem getting tablets. Family members, particularly it'll be grandchildren probably, you know, actually that might be the people that we work with, and then the child might actually be the person who needs the iPad, not the person in the care home, to help make the link in the families. So again, working with the health and wellbeing groups, working with the care homes, we can begin to get, when things begin to relax, we can say, look, is there another way to do this?
Yeah, and it brings in the intergenerational aspect of it all as well.
Absolutely. And you're actually taking that iPad to where it's going to do most good, as opposed to lying in somebody's drawer. And that young person might need another bit of support at home. They might need the broadband there. And then you build on that capacity in the family. It'd be interesting. I wonder how they do it in Italy. You can imagine Italy, which has got a much more family sort of culture. They might actually just work it that way anyway. Trip to Italy.
Yay!
Bella.
Research.
Definitely research. That is such a placid looking dog.
I know, it's gorgeous.
Look at that, gazing into the distance in a very wise way.
She was a lockdown dog. We got her a week before lockdown, and she's got lots of issues.
Oh, bless her.
We decided that we couldn't give her away, which would traumatise her. So we kept her, but she loves getting cuddled.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
She's found heaven, Linda. Whatever she's been through, she knows how lucky she is to be sitting there.
It's
you can
really
see it on her face.
She doesn't let Michael pick her up. I'm the only one that's allowed to pick her up. It's weird. And even then, sometimes now she'll go and give me a growl if I get too near her back end. She didn't like her back end getting touched. So this was I think our fourth rescue dog by March. She was the fourth one. The other three had came and went. So we decided we keep her. So she's Princess Missy. She rules the house. Well, can I just say something that you were talking about, which is quite interesting. My mother's 85, and she is a library goer, and she find it quite difficult during lockdown to get her library books. But we managed to get her on to click and collect.
Yeah.
And she stays in Denny. The library in Denny has been very good. They allocate them half an hour or something, and they go in and
Yeah.
books based on our past history and say, well, maybe you'd like to read this. So is it a thing that if a lot of libraries are offering the service, like maybe like for she's not very good with online stuff, so she says about she has an iPad, but is that something that the libraries are doing? Like if people take their iPads and that in, there's somebody will sit down with them and show them how to look up stuff. And
in normal circumstances, yes, definitely. In East Lothian anyway, I can't speak for other authorities because they all run different, but definitely in East Lothian, our staff are all trained. If someone comes in, we could say to them, well, we'll book you half an hour or an hour on this day. If you bring your iPad along, we'll sit and go through it with you. And that's what we do. But as I say, I can't speak for other authorities.
Okay, that's really interesting. I'll maybe look that up because we're trying to get her. She's been on her own for about 2-3 years since my dad's died. My dad died 3 years ago, and I can't get her involved in anything in the community. It's like she says she's lonely, but she won't go and get involved in the church. She won't get not interested in a friend or somebody to walk. So that might be a kind of output somewhere that she's actually used to going into. If I'll find out. Thank you so much. That was really interesting.
One thing to look into as well, Linda, is we also do iPad sessions where we maybe have 2 or 3 people in at once and they get to know each other. So we've done that in the past where we've had an iPad session with not just 1-to-1, but maybe 2 or 3 in, bringing their iPads in, and one member of staff will sit with them for an hour and teach them, and they also get a cup of tea and they get a chance to chat. So I don't know what other authorities are doing there, but that's something that we've always done.
I'll have a wee look into that. That's been really useful for me. It would be probably I think it would be Falkirk District Council. So I'll have a look at that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I mean, that's it, isn't it? That's add the cup of tea and a wee chat, and you've done it.
Yeah.
You've done it. And libraries are just such important people's lives. You know, I'd like to see a story from some of the stories people have about libraries. What they've done and what they've meant or something would be really nice as part of the memory work to actually make libraries part of the focus of that, because I know we're all sitting there remembering, for me, getting my first time I got my 8 tickets, my grown-up 8 tickets, that was the proudest moments of my life.
Yeah, your ticket and yeah.
That was my gateway to adulthood at whatever age you were, about 8.
Yeah. And what's great here is the kids all get their own library card, and they've got Lennox the Line on them, so you know it's the child, so they go away clutching their own library card. So yeah.
You know that libraries are, of course, they were being set up in Victorian times to enable the the population with reading, learning and stuff, but they have been a soft target. So many councils cut them back. We've seen that with East Lothian.
We are very lucky. We've got a very supportive service manager, and we've got a very supportive head of service in Shareham. So we are lucky, and we've got very supportive counsellors of our library service. At the moment, there's a few mothballed just because of what's going on, but we're hoping that they will all open up and we'll get back to some kind of normality very soon. It'd be great.
Also really supportive communities of it.
Yeah,
I mean, we really palpably missed the libraries being open during lockdown. If the libraries had been open, things would have been quite different for us working in the communities.
Getting a lot of comments coming in from people coming to the door for the click and collect service, their hearing aid batteries, their recycling covers, and we've had a lot of people so appreciative and thankful that we are providing this service, especially over the dark nights when they want their books. And it's been lovely to hear some of the comments. Definitely.
Oh, Ali's been getting his quota of books. He's working his way through the crime writers of Scotland. My favourite one that he's found a book which I must send to Judy at the Community Council But it's called about the Christmas. It's the Christmas lights scandal in a community council somewhere in Scotland.
Oh, yeah.
I must get the title. Actually, you'd like it too, Jackie. It was just come on. I daren't read it. Just.
That is a must-buy for Graham Adams. Oh. And my neighbour Ben, he's on the Christmas lights committee.
There you go. It is. It's all of that, and again, the celebrating community, the whole passion behind it is that what we love in our communities and really, really value, and just celebrating that and building on those feelings that we have, the ideas that we've had. It's just, that's it. It's, and that's why it has to be part of the libraries in there, and of course dogs and children and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
I feel all warm inside.
I'm just thinking of libraries. The most amazing library I have been to was in a place called Turgo Muresh in Transylvania. We'd gone. No, seriously, we'd gone for a wedding, and it was up a little street, and it was our Hungarian friend was marrying a Romanian in Transylvania, and that he had a big family, she didn't, so she invited a load of her friends. So that's how we got to be there. But it was some German guests. They went up this little lane and they saw this big owl outside a building, went in. They came back and you said, you must go, everybody must go. This Tileki library is fantastic. How it survived Ceausescu, nobody knows, but it was a chap who'd been a collector, and his wife, back in the 18th century or so, had collected books. So it's still a reading library. You can request, you can't take them out, but you can request what books they have. But when I tell you it includes original copies of Newton, Paracelsus, all sorts of phenomenal stuff.
Wow.
And largely was protected by volunteers when Ceausescu, was on the go.
Wow.
It's just worth going to Turgo Muresh to go to this library.
I tried to Google Transylvania libraries, and all I got was Transylvania County, which is somewhere in America, I think. So definitely get a link to that, and I can't spell any of the other words.
Yeah.
Transylvania was a bit of a guess. That was, and
It was a very interesting wedding to go to. We later went. We later went on a honeymoon. All the friends went on the honeymoon. They had they were having a real honeymoon, but it was a ski lodge that was a former Soviet listening centre.
God, you have a fun holiday. Have we got any Carnegie libraries in East Lothian, Wilma?
Preston Pans.
Yes. No, it would be really.
That is the only Carnegie library we've got,
Yeah.
and it's protected. It's listed now, and it's got the extension on the back, and it won an award. It beat the Mitchell in Glasgow to win the award is for practicality meets architecture. It's a beautiful building. It was Carnegie gave the money for it to be built, and the people of Preston Pans had to raise the money to stock it. So it was opened in 1905.
Right.
It's still got the original glass and the big arched window and everything.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if there's a strand in here somewhere that is just celebrating libraries. Is there a library day or a library week or anything like
Scotland is all about libraries. There's a lot goes on for different things. There's making noise in libraries. There's all the book week Scotland stuff. There's also the book bug week. That's all celebrating what goes on in libraries and things. Trying to think off the top of my head. There's so many that come under.
If we know them, we can use them to highlight that, or we could focus on one or two, or to just really make a big thing. And if we've got something of the digital project or some of the other projects, or bring your dog to the library day or whatever it is,
Yeah.
dog books, then let's factor that into the timetabling, because it's something that you'd probably be doing anyway. We can just add a little bit maybe to
Yeah, because I know that
give our support to that.
Love Libraries, that comes into it. There is quite a lot that goes on throughout the year to do with different aspects.
If there's one that excites your chums in the library, and I mean, I suppose Book Bugs is just, it's just so beautiful, and it's on live, and it's got children and all the rest of it. But that might be the wrong one. That might be just me, just loving book bugs.
Yeah, Book Bug. He's fab. Or Book Bug.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, something like that. Like, do you want to? So that's where the Book Bug is.
Yay, so Book Bug.
Have you got a whole Book Bug costume? I know that.
We do. We share it with Midlothian Libraries, but we get it so many times of the year. So we've always got a volunteer, and it's a very hot costume, so they're only allowed to get 15 minutes. But it's fab. And when he comes out, the kids just love him. They all want their photo taken with them, and it's a great day when we get them out and we've got someone dressed.
I've got an image of the book bug with the clowns now.
No,
that's funny. I've got a dog dressed up as a book bug with the little dilly boppers, and I'm thinking, yes, we've got the clown doctors or whatever. Yeah,
because they also get involved a lot in national things. This is, I'm going to try and find it. I did have a photo up of me a wee while ago. I've lost it. It was a photo of it done for Red Nose Day, and I've got a red tutu on, red leg warmers, red leggings, trainers, a dojo bow in my hair. I've been dressed as Superman, and my colleague is Batman. We love a dress up. Maybe we'll get involved.
I remember doing a dress up as your favourite book character quite often when I was in school, and going to the library.
World Book Day. Yeah, that was last week.
Yeah. Daisy, what were dressed up as last week?
Yeah,
you dressed up as your favourite book character.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we've got loads to play with that, and if we start putting some of the memory work, the personhood stuff, so take Susie or Dawn or anybody like that, they'll be saying when those stories about what my favourite book is are just part of that identity for people, but they will have, we're back to the stories bit. And some stories from folks, and that is part of the gift we give people, is their stories.
The thing with my Pan's Pals group, I'd asked them to write their life, and obviously it's been now, but I've got one from one of the gentlemen, all about his life. And there's also, we had a Millennium Diary at the turn of the millennium. People in the Pans, they came in, they wrote when they were born and what age they were at the millennium. Their life is up in local history because we wanted it kept safe in case anything happened to it. But some of the stories, people born in 18 something that were still alive, they wrote about all this. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So these kind of things, because I think kids today are taught about history, but they're not taught about their local history. They don't know a lot. My kids, we're a mining family, don't know half of about the miners' strike, all the industries in the Pans. They need to learn this, because when it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And all of these things can happen. They don't need to happen as part of this. This is just an excuse for doing things and sharing ideas. And so if the library's going to do something brilliant, just let us know and we'll let everybody know about it. But we can also do stuff together. And there will be a librarian at QMU as well, who might come in with the librarian view as well as the student view there, Chloe. I don't know who it is. There'll be lots of them there.
Yeah, there's quite a few librarians, but they're always changing.
But they are in their soul. They're librarians in their souls, aren't they? So this will resonate with them and bring them back to some of the stuff. So it might be quite nice to link in with them somehow, as well as with the students.
Yeah.
Wow. It's 2:15. I need a pee. I've just drunk half a pint of tea after I'd had my morning coffee, so I think sorry oversharing there, but I think
Take too much information.
Oh, they don't go to the morning walks. How far can you get?
Can I say one thing before you go and pee then, Sue? I don't know if I shared with Maya, who shared with you, the memory panel that the law quilters did to commemorate
Oh yes,
Eric and COVID. It's actually finished now.
bravo!
Beautiful. I've got a picture of it. Moira has been talking to the museum, and I think the museum are going to do like a piece in each panel, and it's going to actually get hung up in the museum. So maybe actually going forward, it's maybe something that you could take something like that into some of the care homes and talk about it, because you have like, you can start off like it was the CER team, you know, that probably gave the quilters the inspiration and how the town all pulled together. So it features like, it's got bits like the street links on it, it's got like the rainbow, it's got the puffin story. I wrote a piece on the puffin panel, the rainbow panel, and actually the street links, and kind of linked in the Scottish Seabird Centre, because they had got on board with the puffin stuff as well. So maybe that's something to consider going forward, because if I don't know how it's going to get handed over to the museum. I know Moira's got it in the house just now, but surely there would be a link if you got in touch with the museum, then you could go. And I mean, I'm quite happy to take it round and do a talk, or maybe Moira would like, but that's maybe something, because that's, as Wilma was saying, that's local. It's affected everybody's life for the last year. So maybe that's something tangible that you could do. And I mean, I don't know, they could probably touch it, because I mean, like, we embroidered the little COVID logos are all embroidered. The rainbow, I embroidered the rainbow. I know Moira did the picture, the volunteer picture. So there'll be lots of different textures and feels, and there's a story. So maybe that's something that you could actually do, and that's actually tangible and doable, like soon.
That's absolutely brilliant, and let's continue that conversation. And Jackie, there might be something that Dunbar's done that we want to do to take in. That'd be fantastic, even if it went up to the windows.
I mean, you could do that, but the thing is that the way that I suppose that we're going, if it can start the discussions, and even if it's 2 or 3 months down the road, we might be able at that point to get into the actual care homes, because vaccinations will be restrictions will be lifted, and even if you keep the social distancing, so I mean, and that would hit so many people, because everybody's been affected. So that's maybe something that you want to consider.
That's a great idea.
And I can speak to Judy as well, because I know she's got close ties with the museum now. And
she's swapped places. She's not the deputy Spock anymore. Mary's apparently now the deputy Spock, and it's the Spock. Judy's agreed to go into the museum trustees. And I play golf. Judy and I started to play golf together 2 weeks ago, very badly. So, very, very badly. But that is something that's tangible, and it's ready, and it can go in 2 or 3 months.
A tour of the quilt.
Nikki as well. Nikki on the community council as well is looking for some practical stuff to do. Let's have that conversation.
You can put toilet rolls on it.
So the library is definitely part of that discussion, because it's just downstairs from the museum.
I've never been in the museum ever.
Right, it's not open enough, and they've taken the tea room out, which I think is just bonkers. But anyway, who am I to judge?
Speak to Dion at North Berwick Library. Dion probably really happy.
Great. Definitely.
So that's maybe something you could.
Right, let's get together and have a chat about that. Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been amazing.
Yeah.
So many ideas.
Just to say that Jill and I went for a chat with Helen in Dunbar about conversations and other things, but there was
Good.
another issue that had come up, and that our meeting time that we had was taken up with the other crisis situation that's ongoing at the moment. So we've set another time to have a chat with Helen next week.
That's great, and that's part of the discussion about we can't have every discussion in the same place. So we just, yeah, that's great. Okay, I've got another meeting, guys, at 12, so I'm really sorry. But
Yeah.
when do we meet again, Maya?
So from here, the next meeting will be in 2 weeks' time, the 25th. I'm going to keep that an evening meeting, and then from there in April, it'll be every third Thursday, and we'll keep that as a morning meeting, so the 10:30 time, because that seems to work for most people.
Yeah.
So it'll be the 25th, and then from there it'll be the 15th, and we'll do it the third Thursday of every month from there.
Okay.
And we'll also have if there is conversations that people want to have, or there's, anything else that we want to bring in and use the space, we've always got Zooms we can set up. So
we'll be integrating the discussions about meeting centres into this. So Maya and I kind of work how we do that. It's been a bit clunky at the moment, but those conversations will weave together through this, so it'll all begin to fit together. And well, I won't see you because I can't come on Thursday evenings, so I hope it goes well. And I shall see you soon. Anyway, I'm going to go, otherwise I'm going to be sick. It's not going to be good. Bye, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye,
Lovely
guys.
to see you all.
Take care.
Thanks very much.